there was like a dozen or more redfish all tailing right on the back of that ray. I mean, hardly moving at all, and they were just sitting there forever, man. And it was just like, I just wanted to watch.
And you want to talk about a layup. In fishing, that's a layup. I mean, fish on rays, they are there for one reason. They're not just up on the flat and you see them. They are there actively feeding.
He stuck his head out of the water and ate it.
That is so cool. That was so cool.
That was great, man.
Yes! Look at that guy! That is
That's the biggest fish I've ever caught.
I thought you said you had
Got him, relax.
Oh my God!
Saltwater Experience with Captain Tom Rowland and Captain Rich Tudor.
And I've been telling you about how good that redfishing's been lately. It's totally changed. They're in spots where they normally never are. But and then on the stingrays and everything, I mean, it was just a perfect, slick, calm, beautiful day. And I mean, we ran up in there, and it was, you know, not the traditional spots where we normally fish. And you know, I remember you're like, kind of, where are you going, man? We've never fished over here.
Well, that kind of threw me for a loop, because when I went to Flamingo, I didn't know my way around, and the spots that we were actually fishing were the first spots that I learned in Flamingo. And at that time, I would catch a fish or two while people are catching 65 up there and snake bite and stuff like that. But what I saw that day was outstanding. I mean, just incredible stuff. I mean, that's what you go there for.
We'll go up and check a couple of these spots. And I've been, a couple of these areas here, I've been finding these really nice schools of big fish, man.
Really?
Like all 30 inches and stuff. Nice. And on the calmer days, we've seen them, you know, where like you have 100 at a time out with their backs out of the water, all tailing. I mean,
Oh man, that would be so great.
really cool stuff.
You know, unless I come up here, I don't ever get to see anything like that.
I'll tell you, it's a rarity, you know, for me to see that. And having this boat that goes this shallow is letting me get some areas that I normally haven't been able to do. Even with the little skips, you know, we've had those ones with the little V in them, and they just don't go as shallow. School right there. Look at that right there.
To the left there. It's awesome.
Let's glass around with the binoculars for a second. That might have just been a kind of a loner school.
Those were big fish.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, these are all studs. You know, instead of being up in that little dirtier area, tighter to the shorelines where we usually find them, they've been in that crystal clear water with that beautiful turtle grass and just tailing up a storm. I mean, that first thing we saw when we shut down was that giant, you know, we could see them through the binoculars, see that all those tails at school, and just, you know, the school just feeding so slowly. And I remember you were looking up there, you're like, oh my gosh, look at this.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. I mean, they are in a tight bunch. Just, there's got to be 20 of them.
That is awesome.
I was telling you about that, wasn't I?
That first batch, I mean, I remember approaching them, you know, from so far away. We must have seen them a mile away, that big school. And, you know, we just didn't really realize what they were doing, but they were just sitting in that one area, and we kept going and getting closer and closer and closer. And when we finally got up there, you know, all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, they're all on a ray. That's what that is, dude. There's a ray, and the reds are on the ray.
Oh, my God.
There's a dozen reds following that one ray.
That is so cool. And we were wondering what they were doing, why they were so crowded together.
Isn't that awesome? There was like a dozen or more redfish all tailing right on the back of that ray. I mean, hardly moving at all, and they were just sitting there forever, man. And it was just like, I just wanted to watch. I mean, you know, and we just kind of watched and slowly approached, kind of let them come to us. I mean, there was no rush. I mean, it was just so incredible to just watch them with their whole backs. I mean, jumping right on top of the ray practically. It was like they were fighting to be on his back.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a layup. In fishing, that's a layup. I mean, fish on rays, they are there for one reason. They're not just up on the flat and you see them. They are there actively feeding. I mean, they are bellied up to the all-you-can-eat buffet, sitting there, shoving as much on their plate as they can get. If we get something in there, they're going to bite it. You guys are very happy on that ray, aren't they?
But they will spook. You're gonna get one shot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go way over them and in front of them and surf it in. I got to tell you, that was probably one of the most exciting fishing moments I've ever had.
The Hawks K saltwater experience is brought to you by Suffix, drawing the line on performance. By Yellowfin, only in a Yellowfin. By Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. By Hawks Cay Resort, it's all about the water. By Quantum, fishing at a quantum level. And by Motor Guide, Strike King, and Guideline Sunglasses.
I don't even think it really matters what you put in there at that point, because, you know, the ray is just a big creature that is just stirring stuff up. So, you know, 12 redfish say, hey, you know, this is an easy meal right here. Everything he kicks up, we just sit there and eat it, you know, and there are so many little species of everything, crabs, shrimp, worms, bait fish, living in that seagrass. So when that ray makes a little mud, man, there's all kinds of stuff coming up behind that, and those redfish are just picking it off one after another.
Yep.
It's the easiest meal they've ever had.
I'm not going to try to be too aggressive with him. Not yet. Not yet. I need to be up there just a hair further.
Better go now. Tip high. Right. I'm gonna go. Put your rod down. I'm right in them.
I'm in him. I'm on.
Nice job, dude. Beautiful.
That was incredible, man.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, that was probably one of the most exciting fishing moments I've ever had.
That was incredible.
That was just awesome.
Man, I'm shaking. Just look at that. Oh, I got another one.
Oh, yes! Get that hook in him good.
I got him. Unbelievable, man.
That was really, I mean, really one of the best and coolest situations I've ever been in. And you're right, man.
On the phone about how good
You're right. It's all about being able to, you know, get in this shallow water, but it's not just about only getting in the shallow water. You got to be able to run over here. So, I mean, this is like kayak fishing.
These are beautiful fish, huh? Mine's gone down and buried himself in the mud. There's the ray that the fish were on right there. Look at that. Well, that was incredible, man. We pulled up there. I remember, I think you threw first. I was pulling you up in there, and it was so shallow. I mean, that's the thing. We were pulling that yellowfin skiff up there in 6 inches of water.
And our new Yellowfin 17 was the key there, because that's the shallowest boat that we've had, probably ever. And being able to get up in those areas and comfortably fish there, because it was so shallow and the boat goes so shallow, we were able to get in there where the fish were and stay there until we had caught what we wanted, and then can easily pull out and leave.
Yeah. Okay, nice job, dude. You're gonna have to pull me up to this guy. He's buried in there and I can't pull him out. I got this 6-pound braid on there. I'm scared to pull him too hard. Then after we got yours, I think we got yours and then had to let him go. And then mine was, he'd gone out there and just buried him in that dense grass that we're talking about. He'd literally gone down in there and buried himself, and he couldn't move. I mean, he just could, you know, we could not get the thing out of there. Look at that. Look at that. He's still there. He's just buried in this grass. Look at this. This is crazy. He's right there. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. There he is. There he's out of there. Isn't that wild?
You know, and sometimes you go up on a flat and you don't see any redfish, and you're sure there are none there.
Jeez, man, he was buried.
But that may not be the case.
Look at that. And now he's fighting because he didn't fight at all. He just buried himself. That's a nice size one. He's bigger than yours.
He is bigger than mine. It's the first one that bites. He's not always the smartest and biggest one in the bunch.
That was good.
Boy, I tell you what, he doesn't have a mark on him either. He is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
What do you think? You think there was a dozen on that one, Ray?
Could easily have been a dozen. I don't know. From the binoculars, you know, definitely when we first got here, looking at the binoculars, I could see that there was one big school that broke up into two. All right.
See you, bud.
See ya.
Nice job, dude.
And off he goes. You know, Rich and I have fished from the southern part of Texas all the way around to Key West and all the way back up to North Carolina. In doing all the redfish tournaments, we're going to these different locations where we don't know where we are. We don't even know where the boat ramp is. So at every opportunity, we're putting in waypoints. A lot of manufacturers of GPS will limit you to 2,500 to 3,000 waypoints. I can chew up 3,000 waypoints in no time at all. The best thing about the Lowrance unit is at any time you can have 1,000 waypoints available to you. So for instance, these are my waypoints for my general fishing around Key West. Of course, if I come up here and we're gonna fish out of the same boat, maybe Rich might want his waypoints. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take his card out of his unit, we're gonna put it in the bottom bay, and easily I'm gonna take away all my waypoints simply by going here, pushing menu twice, system setup, delete all my waypoints, and I'm only gonna do that if I know I've saved them. I know that I have, so I'm gonna hit enter, yes, and it's gonna take away all my waypoints. Within a few seconds, I'm gonna be able to load up all of his best spots, and we're gonna be able to take off to Flamingo. Simply, I'm gonna go here to transfer my data, hit enter, I'm gonna load it, and I'm gonna pick the ones that I want. I'm gonna pick Rich, there it is right there, load data, and in a couple of seconds, I'm gonna have all of my waypoints out of this GPS and all of his best spots in here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take them off and hand them back to him, because those are the best spots in Flamingo, and we're going fishing right now and give them a try.
With the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary in the Damage Assessment and Restoration Program. I work as a biologist, and my primary focus is to conduct natural resource damage assessments caused by vessel groundings and other projects, and then formulate the restoration plans and conduct restoration on those sites. There's a few different types of injuries that the vessels make. One is prop scars that are frequently seen. We can go ahead and fill the voided area, the trench, in with sediment. And then we also plant seagrass and install bird roosting stakes, which then the birds sit upon, do their business, and fertilize the grass below. If we don't actually have to replace the sediment, seagrass can recover fairly quickly. Some of the larger injuries can take decades to recover. Seagrass is important to many different areas of the marine environment. It's vital for maintaining water quality and also can act as somewhat of a filter for different items in the water. Also, the seagrass is vitally important as a nursery ground for many species. I mean, there's many organisms that you can see, but there's even that many more that you can't see. You could probably come up with somewhere between 50 and 100 species that you could collect, but that doesn't even take into account all the stuff that's actually living in the sediment among the roots of the seagrass. If we had a dramatic loss of seagrass cover in the Florida Keys, we would most likely see definite declines in fish stock as well as the invertebrate stock. It would be pretty devastating, as well as our nearshore water quality would probably drop. One of the most rewarding things that we've done is actually gone out and restoring a site and then seeing that come back and become fully covered with seagrass again, and the turtle grass coming in, and watching the success of the site to recovery to match the adjacent area. That's the most fun part.
That day was just phenomenal, though. After we caught, the ones on the rays there, we got, singles and doubles, tailor, single, double tailors, we could see them. I remember once or twice looking over the binoculars, just being like, Tom, dude, I see, fish.
There's one, there's one, and, it's like, which one do you want to go to? And the fishing up there, you kind of know what to expect when you go up there for the redfish, but, like a couple other places that we like to fish, the Flamingo area is just a win-win situation. I mean, you can take a customer up there and you're in Everglades National Park, man. You got beautiful birds, you've got incredible settings, the beauty is there surrounding you all day long.
I mean, that day in particular, we get up there and we'd see all, it's always like that. When the fishing's the best, it's like all the birds are feeding, everything's happy, the things are right there. Something's going on. I think that just that tide's coming up and it's bringing all that shrimp and crabs and whatever else.
The fish are going to be feeling the same way as the birds, and they're up there tailing and feeding. We go up there, we find some incredible opportunities at fish on rays, just digging and eating and feeding, and it's such a cool situation that, as an angler dying to catch one, we choose to take a back seat for a second, just look at them, because you know, really, it's not every day you see a dozen redfish on a ray. And now that we've seen those opportunities for, you know, many years, you realize, man, those fish are so happy on that ray. We could sit here for 3 hours and watch them tail.
I remember that second one. I mean, we caught the first bounce on the ray, and then we caught a few singles, and then I remember towards the end there we saw another one that was, you know, and they acted different when they were on the rays. Like you said, they were staying in one spot, and just not just the occasional flag up. They were just always up there, just going, you know, and there was multiples, and there was just, you know, you could just tell the difference, you know, and as we saw that second one, I remember, like you said, we just sat there and watched, and I think there was maybe two on this ray or something, and just going crazy and going crazy and going crazy, and, you know, we just sat there and kind of waited, and as he got closer and closer, you know, there was no rush. That was a neat feeling, just to not feel any pending rush.
I'm ready. I'm gonna let you have the first shot. I'm going right over you. I can see the ray in the water. I can see the redfish in the water.
Okay, I'm gonna go right over his back.
It's good. It should get bit.
He just stuck his head out of the water and ate it.
That is so cool. That was so cool.
That was great, man. His whole head came out of the water to eat that. That was awesome.
That was great.
And I remember I threw up, you know, past there, just kind of surfed it in, and just, I remember watching him, his head came out of the water off that ray, just boop, and he ate that shrimp, and, you know, it was just, you know, that was such a cool catch, you know?
Yeah.
That was the one guy that wouldn't leave that ray.
Yep.
Just right on his back. Nice one, too. Just surfed it in so slow, and he just came up and just head came out of the water. Look at him. He's going to be on the top of the ray right now.
Ray says, "What happened, buddy?"
Look at that. He's trying to get on him right now. Look at that. Nice fish. Man, I'll just land him up here, Tom.
Yeah,
Watch
because
out,
I'm
you
gonna
wanna see
get
those
us.
fish?
I'm gonna pull us right over here to these other ones.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah, man. Yes.
Look at that guy, huh?
Very nice, huh?
Look at the definition of the white belly and the darker upper body. That's really stands out on that fish.
This is gorgeous. Absolutely. Look at that fish in the water. There you go. That's cool.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience is brought to you by Yellowfin, only in a Yellowfin. By Lowrance, we lead, we find, you win. By Mercury, #1 on the water. The Florida Keys in Key West, come as you are. And by Thumbdinger, Navionics, Scott Fly Rods, and Loadmaster.
You know, we often talk about hunting and fishing, you know, the correlation when we're flats fishing. I felt like we were, you know, I'm a big deer hunter, and I sit in these trees for hours, you know, days waiting for a deer to walk by. And I felt like that at times that day, you know, where we were sitting there, you know, part of the environment, letting things happen around us, and, you know, and letting those fish come to us. You know, we were, you know, just kind of, you know, stand hunting, you know, waiting for them. And then it was just a neat feeling to be part of nature. And I mean, we didn't see a boat that day.
No.
I mean, there was nobody around as far as we could see. You know, just nature, birds, fish, just sharks going everywhere, stingrays, everything's happening so natural.
It's always that way when I go to Flamingo. I mean, even the days, you know, when on the early days when I'd go up there and I wouldn't catch anything because I didn't know where to fish, and, you know, but anytime I go up there, it's just a great experience, because catch fish or not, you're surrounded by the most incredible scenery in South Florida, and I really enjoy going up there with you because you know it so well, and being able to get up in there and check out all those great spots. That's really, really cool, man. I appreciate you taking me up there.
It was a fun day.
That is a nice one. Look how the water's a little bit deeper, you know?
Look how fat he is, dude. He's short and fat. That's a good tournament fish.
It is a good tournament fish. We've been happy with that one many, many days.
I'm happy with him today, that's for sure. Yeah, man.
Help me out with that hook.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we slid that shrimp and just floated in. That was nice.
Flexing that dorsal.
Listen to him drumming.
That dorsal flexed up and down. You ever see them do that? Like just like that when they're in the water tailing and they flex that up like that. Look at that. He's doing it nicely.
Yeah, man. We'll let him go and we'll do it again. See you, buddy. Yeah, man.
Accommodations provided by Hawks Cay Resort Marina and Villas. It's all about the water.